I'm gonna make the handle for this jug now. It's dry enough, just firm enough, and strong enough to take the weight of the handle. So I prep some clay and I roll it out. Use a template to measure what I need, and of course I'll be doing a lot more prepping of this slab that's cut out where I really know I don't need. Okay, very nearly there. So I score the back of the jug, and I want the handle to have a nice curve, but I don't want it to be too high above the rim of the vase. In fact, it's quite nice when it's actually all under the rim of the vase. So I score quite low down. For the top of the handle, and here's the bottom. So I'm putting slip into the scored areas. I'll put quite a lot on, work in to the score, and actually in the end I'll be taking an awful lot of it off. So now is the tricky bit, getting the handle into the right place. You want to do it before the body of the jug gets too dry, and you want to do it before the handle's too dry. Otherwise, you can crack the handle. And you can see I'm supporting it with this dry sponge. It's still stuck to the tile. So I've got it off the turntable. This is when I sign it with the stamp. Dig that in good and deep. Now, if I just left this, it would flop. So it's got to be supported with these sponges. Well, everything needs support. We all need a bit of support every now and again. And so does a handle. Sponges are brilliant for this. They're so light, and yet it's looking good. I'm very fussy. I like it to have a free-flowing curve. It does naturally get into that position, but you really have to work at it, and I think that's nice. So ordinarily this I would have down on a low surface, but because of this video where we needed the light and stuff, so I like to get above and make sure that the handle and the spout are in alignment, and you just have to get above. You have to do this. Don't shy away from it. It's never going to be absolutely perfect, so just tolerate a little bit of imperfection, and that's it. We're going to do the last bit with this jug now. Sort it out and make it ready for the B-square firing. Most of the work will be done with damp sponges, just making the edges smooth and not something that could hurt your hand when you grip it. You don't want sharp edges. We need to shape the handle. The bottom of the handle, where I pressed it into the body, that bit needs to be taken out, where it's kind of flared out, and the excess slit taken off. And so I'm just taking off more of the handle, the excess slit. Greenware in this state is about as strong as chocolate eggs. That's how I think of them. So quite tricky to handle. You can't grip too hard. Sponges, just to get it all looking good. And then where the handle joins, it's very important to make sure everything's in good shape. So I'll use this spatula to get in there and tidy up the join. It'll take the glaze better and be stronger. So now I have to deal with the rim. There are two things I'm going to be doing. One is making it a nice even surface. Secondly, I'm going to make sure this spout works well as a spout and looks good. So to make it even, this is a piece of MDF with some sandpaper. Most of these tools and also the glazes and clay and most of the stuff I use I get from Bath Potters near Bath, which is just about 20 minutes drive for me. It's very convenient and they're a friendly lot in there and knowledgeable as well, so it's very good to have a good supplier of equipment. Unsponsored, by the way. But I've known them for a long time. The spout is important. It's got to pour without dripping. It's not only the design of it with a little curve here, but the where it's structured. So just making it nice and thin here so that it cuts the flow of water. Now, all that sanding has made for a lot of dust in the bottom. It's no good in the glazing process, so it's all got to come out. Now lastly, well not lastly actually, but next thing is the foot ring. So I'm going to cut out a section here. First I make sure the slab is well knitted with the base, so I go around pressing with my thumb. So I use one of these tools, wire, blades, curled, and I'm cutting out the foot ring. I use the flat to smooth it out. So it's nearly there. Just a bit of tidying up and working on the seam. The light will be better, Anthony, if you go around. Let's do it with my left hand. So this is where the seam is. And this sponge helps smooth the surface. This can now dry off and I'll sand it underneath there, but I'll leave it for a few days to dry. Right, so I'm just going to finish this one which I made a little earlier, by sanding the bottom. Pretty simple, we think, but actually you don't want to nick the base, so I tend to go around in circles to avoid too much pressure on the actual edges here. In the background are honeypots being made by Gail and Anthony. Gail's busy over there. And then I just brush off the excess. There it is, neat underneath. And it'll sit on these shelves for a few days, or actually something as big as this, probably 2 weeks to dry. I'm going to wax this. Actually, first thing I'm going to do is just wipe it down with a damp cloth, because B-square gets a lot of dust on it in the kiln. There's a lot of it flying around the kiln when the B-square process goes on. So I like to get rid of any of that dust from where I am. So this isn't the jug that I was making in the first video. It's a B-square jug that I made several weeks ago, but it's the same style of jug and the same size of jug, and the processes are all the same. I'm now going to wax it. So the wax goes where I don't want the glaze to go, which is basically just the base and the stamp here. So yeah, I'm using a little sponge brush to apply the wax. Now I'm going to glaze the interior of that B-square jug. This is tin oxide glaze. It's a stained tin oxide, which describes it well. Obviously, it's a tin oxide in a transparent glaze. Whip it up to make sure all the ingredients get on to the B-square. It can go very wrong and spray everywhere, but that was pretty good. I put it on a sponge so that no wax goes onto the rim of the barrel of glaze. Leave it in a few seconds and then drain it out. If some goes down the side of the pot, in my view, it doesn't matter. It might show up under the coloured glaze, but it'll look nice. So I leave it to dry upside down so that the glaze doesn't pool at the bottom. Very important. Right, now I'm going to glaze the exterior of that large jug. It's going to be turquoise blue, and I have to mix up the glaze. So I just wipe off the excess from the top, and it's important when you're dipping in to go over the handle where it joins the body of the jug to seal that join as well as possible. And shake off any excess. I just need to get a cloth to wipe the bottom. And then leave it to dry for half an hour or so. A couple of things to do with this before it goes in the kiln. And one thing is to clean it up. I have waxed this area, but you can see the glaze kind of gets caught up in it. And I need all sorts of tools to get it out. And actually, to tell you the truth, it's a really irritating thing you have to do. You just want to quickly shove it in the kiln, beautifully glazed, but no, you've got to fiddle about with a tricky thing like this, using lots of different tools. But it's very important. You don't want glaze in the wrong places. This is looking quite good. Now for the last bit, to dip it in. So the last thing I do is a bit of tin oxide over the rim, and it joins the interior glaze with the exterior glaze. It's tin oxide, the same glaze as the interior. You can see on this one how it knits the two together and creates a third colour. It's more interesting and it's neat. And it's quite risky because I have to dip it in upside down and it has to go over onto the turquoise glaze. I don't want drips to form on the rim, so I have to swing it around a bit. And there's a nice little drip, I like it, that's this thing. There. That's ready for the kiln. I could put it in straight away, but I've got plenty more to do. Okay, I'm going to put this in the kiln. Treat it with care. It's a powdery surface, especially the blue. In a kiln, when you're doing glaze firing, nothing should touch anything else except a waxy bottom on a well done kiln mat. There it is. Hi, this is the last video. The jug's been fired, 1220 degrees with a 5-minute soak in the kiln. And here it is, it's still warm. The turquoise glaze came out really nice. It's making a good noise, of course. And you can see where the drips of the tin oxide underneath the glaze and then some on top of the turquoise. And they both look really nice and I like it. It's a good one.